If I just had to write the stuff down just for myself, number one, I would probably still do it because it's therapeutic for me to write and create. I have to do it. I really don't have a choice. But the added bonus of having other people listen to it and love it and respond to it, gosh, man, what a feeling that is. And every artist should be able to feel that at least sometimes. And I've been really lucky to have it, well, just in our experience together, week after week. You know, I didn't necessarily write every song that was one of those 5, but I wrote my share of them. And one of the things about St. Luke's Drifters is just because, like, if Kenny writes a song, I still feel it. I feel it like I wrote it. You know, we're all involved in arranging and making that song come to life. So it feels like mine.
How long have you guys been together?
I think Kenny and I, the two of us, have been pretty close to 4 years now. I actually started out as a rhythm guitar player in Kenny's band. And we started talking about the band, and he had a bass player working with him at the time, and it's kind of a funny story. I don't know. Hopefully he wouldn't get mad at me telling this, but one night on the way back from rehearsal, I said, "Yeah, you know, your bass player's pretty good." And I was playing rhythm guitar, and he goes, "Yeah, he'd be great if he only had teeth." And I was like, "What? Did I hear you right?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, next time we're together, look at him. He doesn't have any teeth." And so that sort of led to another conversation about what was the goal of the band and what we were going to do. And,
it always leads to another conversation, Mitch.
Yeah, especially when the conversation starts with, "Yeah, it'd be great if he only had teeth." Right. You know, no, I'm not even going to go there. We live in, you know, I'm not going there at all.
I know. We're keeping it professional, Mitch.
Yes, no lowbrow humor. From you can do that, Rick, if you want. You can go there.
Now, Denise, and I want you to pay attention to the last name because I'm going to put you on the spot here in a few and ask you some questions about this. But Denise Medlock here in the show chat, she's wanting to know when you all are playing locally again.
Let's see. We do have something going on November 4th at the Country. So right now, November 4th is the next live booking we have. And I'm not disclosing at this point what project you would be seeing if you went to that.
Oh, so it wouldn't necessarily be St. Luke's Drifters show per se?
Maybe not.
All right.
Well, it'll be a fun show. It'll be a fun show, though. I guarantee you that.
Gotcha.
I can tell you. Opening that show is a band called Broomtail from Nashville, and they're a great band. That'll be honky tonk, you know, like pretty traditional honky tonk music. And then closing that show is a band called Van Walen from Louisville, Kentucky, and they're kind of a heavy country. Like, it's really interesting, their stuff. They're kind of heavy rock and roll, but they're country also. And then we are going to be in the middle.
Nice. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit because I know you at the very least pay attention to the polls. I know you tune in when you can, and I know you're a very, very busy person, and when you get the chance, you do. But I do know you pay attention to the polls because your fans vote like crazy all the time. So I'm suspecting you're doing some sharing there. So, Medlock, have you heard this name, Ducky Medlock?
Yeah, I sure have.
Let me tell you, this is some shit, Mitch. This Ducky Medlock guy, right? This, you know what we consider you. There's a handful of you that we seriously consider the OGs, and it's weird to say this because we've only been on for just over a year, but there's still a handful of you that we kind of consider the OGs. I mean, Tammany Dove, you, Matt Maloof. I mean, you guys were kind of there from the start, and you've been in the charts from the start. And then, 2017 rolls along, the end of 16, beginning of 2017, all of a sudden rolls along this Ducky Medlock. And I got to be honest with you, I kind of compare his time here this year to the St. Luke's Drifters era. I really do, because, again, your stats in this top 30, and you can thank Kim for this, you've been in all 28 countdowns with 5 different songs. This is a tough top 30 to get into. I submit anywhere from 80 to 150 artists on any given week for people to choose from. So it's very tough to get into. It's all genres. I mean, there's so many reasons why it's so tough. You've been in every single one with 5 different songs. A couple of number ones. You've squatted there in the top 30. And so now, we're here to this year, and Ducky Medlock is kind of like, now I'd like to think that maybe St. Luke's Drifter is going to take Artist of the Year for 2 years in a row. I don't know how that's going to work out. You got to get everybody all pumped up. But I do kind of consider this Ducky Medlock fella kind of the SLD of, you get what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, I hear you. Ducky, Ducky is number one. Ducky writes and performs, and he has great music. So that doesn't surprise me. Ducky has got some of the most loyal and ferocious fans of any musician that I've ever seen. And he's got good music. Now, I don't know Ducky. I've not met him personally, although I expect that one of these days we will run into each other, because I think he's from not far from here, right? So I expect we will run into each other. He is kind of an upstart, though. I will say that.
Well,
but he.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say,
I was just going to say, but he writes great music, and his fans are ferocious. So
they are. And what I'm thinking is maybe I'm going to have to take a trip down south, and we're going to have to stage some kind of cage match or something. SLD, Ducky Medlock in a cage, right? No hitting below the belt, of course, but. I just kind of wanted to bring that up, but we're going to talk. I didn't want to take anything away from you guys, because really, truly, SLD, St. Luke's Drifters, total OGs here at Music Mafia Radio. You guys, 26 up until now, you guys have brought so much attention to the top 30 charts. I mean, you consistently have hordes and hordes of people voting for you. I mean, let's see here. Let me go back to, where'd you go here? The lowest you've been in almost a year is at number 20. That was last week. Does that worry you a little bit? I mean, obviously you hear about all the new artists that we have submitted here, so that's making it a little tough too. There's lots of new stuff that's piling in and making it in. Did slipping back all the way to 20 after a freaking year start to worry you a bit? If I weren't so surprised every week that we are still in the top 30, it might worry me a little. I'll be honest with you. I'm just grateful beyond words that we have been in it as long as we have. Does it worry me? You do kind of want to stay up. You do kind of want to stay up there. So, I'll speaking a little bit about Ducky again. After the first couple of weeks that he was in, I was like, well, that guy's just going to knock us right out. And he knocked us down, and we came back, and knocked us down again, and we came back, and so I'm just grateful to be on the station at all, much less in the top 30. So it doesn't really worry me to be at number 20. I would love to be able to say that we never left the top 30. That would be pretty cool. Well, that would be pretty cool, but I plan on being here for a really long time, and
exactly, exactly. So do I.
All right. Well, then see, you got to get some of that new stuff going. See, we got to get you back up there, piling back up. Something tells me this was just a fluke. I mean, we've had some crazy top 30s these last few weeks, and the Dove. I mean. Whew, the stats on her are insane. I mean, she's been in all 28 countdowns, 9 different songs.
Yeah, that's another one. I don't want to interrupt you, but
No,
but
go
I
ahead.
do. Man, I tell you what, I just don't think I've ever met anybody that's nicer in my whole life than Tammany Dove. You know, I've met her now several times in person, and she is just the sweetest, most gracious, kind person that I think I've ever met. And she's so supportive of all the other artists. You know, she shares and she tags and she talks about the other bands and artists, and, you know, like family members, like we all feel like part of Music Mafia Radio. But she just really goes above and beyond to support the other artists. And just like, you know, Cause does and Matt Maloof does and Black Cadillac Kings. Oh man, what am I not? Shane. Also very supportive of other bands. It's just a great family, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
Well, I got to tell you, you've been a definite favorite here at Music Mafia Radio, and a very well-deserved 2016 Artist of the Year as far as I'm concerned. And apparently everybody else felt the same way because, I mean, you won it fair and square by the vote, and it was voted by fans, listeners, you know, fans, friends, and family of yours. It was a fair and square deal, and it was well-deserved. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen this year. I really don't. We're getting close. I got to figure out how we're going to stage it this year. And I don't know what's going to happen. Is St. Luke's Drifters going to take it again? Is that force called Ducky Medlock going to take it? Or, you know, we're going to get somebody out of the blue take it. It's yet to be seen, but well-deserved for 2016, Mitch. We thank you so much. You've been a big supporter of Music Mafia Radio, and we appreciate that. We really, really do. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to display your talent here. I mean, you've listened to me. I'm a little rough. I scare people. So I do thank you very, very much for letting us display that great talent. And I thank you so much for calling in tonight, man. I really do. And
you're welcome. You know how I feel about what you do and what all of you folks with Music Mafia Radio do. We wouldn't have this vehicle if it weren't for people like you who have the same kind of dedication and devotion that we do. And you know, we couldn't do it without you. In today's world, we just couldn't. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Well,
so with your, you know, we need you.
Well, and I thank you very, very much. A lot of the credit, the staff deserves that. But, you know, I just want to say this, that things need to change. And you know this, Mitch. Things need to change in the music world. And that's all we're trying to kind of rally everybody to do, is to change these things that need to be changed. And that's, you know, it's basically that simple. And it's going to take us all. It really is. It's going to take us all. It's going to take the station. It's going to take the artist. It's going to take the listeners. It's going to take us all to change this. But I'm telling you, I mean, as you said there, it's just been a great community of support. And I think all of us together at some point are going to be able to accomplish a lot in this field here.
I think so, too. Before we part company here, I do have one question I'm curious about. I've been curious for a while.
All right.
Do you have a way to know? Do you know how many people tune in to listen to your show? Do you have a way to know that?
Yes, absolutely.
And so I assume, have you seen your audience grow over the past year?
Yes. And you know, there's a lot of fluctuations in those numbers, and it's just because of the way. One is because we're so young. We're so young, and we're 14 months old, and in 14 months we've had 300 artists submit music to us. So, you know, it's kind of weird. You know, you see the biggest fluctuations happen when you start debuting new stuff, because now all of a sudden you've got new artists that you're debuting, now kind of spreading the word, hey, we're going to be played here, we're going to be debuted here. And so now all of a sudden you'll see kind of an influx of new numbers, and then it'll taper off for a while. and then once you start debuting, I mean, you see how that kind of works there.
Yeah. So, but you're over